The area was divided into blocks with net irrigation areas as summarized on table 1, where we had sub-area 1, sub-area A, B, C, and D, blocks at different levels, and also the net irrigation area in hectares is given. The total is 7,717. Honorable Speaker, the land acquisition process for Phase 1 began in the year 2012, where AJAABU Africa was contracted by the National Irrigation Authority to develop a composition for well-leave acquisition plan for the Lower Kuji Irrigation Development Project. And according to the final RAP, that is the Resettlement Action Plan report submitted by the consultant, Phase 1 of the project required approximately 710 acres for well-leave to facilitate construction of the necessary irrigation, drainage infrastructure, and related facilities. The valuation exercise determined that approximately 2,233 individuals currently owning the required land needed to be compensated in order to surrender their land to the project. The total amount, compensation value, was around 116,751 shillings, 225. Phase 2, in addition, that is in the year 2014, a consultant by the name Gedo Associates was contracted to offer consultancy services now specifically for canal well-leave acquisition plan for the Lower Kuja project. The scope of the assignment was to identify the gaps in land acquisition which had not been addressed by the GIB report due to succession issues. The consultant submitted the final report to the board on 16th December 2015, with a total of 873 project affected persons, we call them PAPs, with a valuation cost of 87,934,731 for a total number of acreage of 534 and 76 acres. Honorable Speaker, this was to be acquired for canal. Further, in the year 2020, the National Irrigation Authority requested Ministry of Lands and Physical Planning, that is in Migori County, to carry out survey and valuation of canal well-leaves in a different block, that is Block 3, Block 3-1, Block M, and Block 21, that were either not conducted by the previous consultants or had land ownership issues, while also taking care of livelihood restoration. The exercise was done, and the report was submitted on 14th of June 2021 with a valuation amount of 28,237,602 shillings for a total number of 175 affected persons. The composition cost that was required in that case was 232,923,588. A summary is given. So for the three evaluation processes, 2011, 2014, and 2020, the total number of affected persons was 3,281, and the total valuation cost was 232,923,587 cents. Honorable Speaker, in July 2024, the authority, which is NIA, appointed a committee to review the compensation status for the project to enable the management to finalize the process. It was established that Kenya shillings 77,313,863 cents out of the total compensation amount of 232,923,587 cents had been paid to a total number of 981 persons that are affected out of the cumulative total number so far enumerated of 3,281 PAPs. The outstanding compensation currently stands at 155,609,724 are summarized in the table. The table, that is table 3, gives breakdown of valuation per timelines, the compensation amount, and the outstanding pending, where we have established that the total remaining is 155 million. Now, the table number 4 gives a breakdown of total number of PAPs, the number of PAPs compensated so far, and the number of PAPs yet to be compensated. The remaining is 2,300 persons. The authority secured a budgetary allocation of the 68 million to settle part of the outstanding compensation under this financial year. The compensation process is ongoing and is planned to be completed by 1st of August 2025. The balance, because now we have 68 million, if you subtract that from 155 million, the balance will be 87 million, which will be settled in the next financial year 2025-2026. Honorable Speaker, after review of the compensation status, the management of the authority engaged National Land Commission for guidance on how to proceed with the exercise since it is within their mandate. This resulted in the visit to Lower Kuja irrigation project by the Commission and subsequent engagements with PAPs between the date of 18th to 22nd November 2024. On 5th of February this year, the Commission gave guidance on the process for finalization of compensation for the project. In its communication, NLC, that is the Commission, gave the following guidelines: immediate payment of the available compensation fund amounting to Kenya shillings 68 million by the National Irrigation Authority. Number 2, well leave acquisition for all title holders and persons affected, project affected persons who formally declined the offers issued by the authority be addressed by the Commission, and the authority established a grievance dissolution mechanism, as that is expected in every valuation, involving key stakeholders, that is the National Government Administration Officers, NGAO, the National Irrigation Authority, the National Land Commission, scheme leadership, and the people that are actually affected. The authority, in liaison with the Commission, plan for final survey and vesting all the titles acquired in order to secure its interest. On 11th February, Honorable Speaker, the authority formed a committee to spearhead the compensation payment. The committee is currently on the ground and is preparing the required payment documents for the already available funds of 68 million Kenya shillings in collaboration with relevant stakeholders. The table below highlights the process or the roadmap and the timelines for compensation of payments. As of on the roadmap, Honorable Speaker, by 15th March 2025, that is by Friday, the verification of PAPs Phase 1 is supposed to be complete. Step number 2 is payment of verified PAPs under Phase 1, which will be done by 25th March this year, of a payment amounting to Kenya shillings 24 million. Then we have step number 3, to address the grievances of PAPs with disputes under Phase 1, and the committee made up of NGAO, NIA, scheme leaders, and the PAPs themselves will be handled by 10th of April this year. Step number 4 is verification of Phase 2 PAPs, which will be done by NIA the scheme leaders. That is supposed to be completed by May 2025. That is the roadmap. And upon verification of these, PAPs on Phase 2 will pay an amount amounting to 23 million by 15th May 2025. Honorable Speaker, the 8th step would be verification of Phase 3 PAPs, because The documentation of PAPs was done in phases, and that will be done by 1st of June 2025. Then there will be the payment of phase 3 PAPs, which will be done by 15th July 2025, with a total amount of 21 million. The final survey and vesting all the titles required will be done by the 1st of August 2025, and this will be completed by 1st of August 2025. The total amount to be paid as per this roadmap by August 1st will be 68 million, and as Honorable Speaker have stated, the remaining 87 million will be loaded into the coming financial year. Honorable Speaker, I submit. Thank you.
Honorable Eddie.
Honorable Speaker, I am grateful for the responses from the CS, but with all due respect, Honorable Speaker, I don't know whether my question was that difficult to understand and answer. And I'll take you back to the question, Honorable Speaker. Could the Cabinet Secretary provide a list of landowners who granted way leave for the lower Kuja irrigation development project in the sub-county, Migori County, and indicate the respective amounts due to each as compensation? Mr. Speaker, there is no list provided to this House of individuals who are called PAPs on this project, Mr. Speaker. And I think that, Mr. Speaker, my only conclusion can be that perhaps the CS is hiding from this House the fact that there are people who are displaced.
So before you conclude, Honorable Eddie.
Yes.
Honorable CS, just take your seat. You'll come back to the microphone. Honorable CS, that question was couched in plain English to provide a list. Why has your ministry not provided a list as requested?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. The question that came to the ministry did not capture the list, Honorable Senator. But, Honorable Speaker, the question that came to the ministry is the question number 8 by Senator Eddie Okech. I read, MP on status of compensation of landowners who granted way leave for the Lower Kuja irrigation development project. Honorable Senator, I would provide list as requested. I submit.
So, if I get you correctly, Honorable CS, is that the question that was sent to you did not request for a list to be provided?
Yes, Honorable.
Is that your position?
Yes, Honorable Speaker.
Okay, we will come back to that because I've requested the clerk to retrieve the original question that was dispatched to your office so that we get to know exactly where the problem lies.
Mbona provide list jamaa?
So, Honorable CS, has the clerk assisted you to
Yes.
see the pro forma?
Yes.
That came from the Senate.
Yes.
What is the question?
Honorable Speaker, my apologies, and to the Honorable member, and to the House. Sorry, I am new to the House. So, my apologies. The question that read, question number 8 by MP on status of implementation of landowners who granted relief for the Lower Kuja Irrigation Development Project. There was an attachment, as I've been guided by the clerk, that could the Cabinet Secretary provide a list of landowners who granted? That is noted, and Honorable Speaker, we can submit that as required. But the question number B, on why has the government not paid out compensation to them?
Honorable CS, let me just guide you. You have not responded to the first limb of the question by the Senator for Migori. So you will have to come back before this House.
Thank you.
To respond adequately to that question. Now let's move to, because even the Honorable Senator cannot interrogate you on the first limb of that question. And therefore, let's move to B. Let us move to B, interrogate B, and then we will give guidance on when the first limb of that question will be responded to. Certainly not today. Yes, Senator Boni. Just have a seat, Senator.
I note happily that the minister has acknowledged that he's new. Mr. Speaker, limb A is the foundation of the question. And therefore, the fairest you can give him is for him to go back and come with a proper question on a different day. Otherwise, we will give him the impression that he can come to the House and answer his own question. He can only answer the questions of the House, Mr. Speaker, I request.
Very well. Honorable CS, are you in a position to respond adequately to limb 2?
Honorable Speaker.
Without providing a comprehensive response to limb 1 of the question. If your answer is yes, I will allow you to proceed. If your answer is no, let us not waste time. Let us just defer this particular question until such a time that you're adequately prepared to respond to it. Just a moment. Yes, Honorable CS.
Yes, Honorable Speaker.
I just asked.
Honorable Speaker,
yes.
The first question was a list. The second question was, why has the government not paid out, which is what I have responded to. And the third question was, could the Cabinet Secretary explain the inordinate delay in completing the project?
Yeah, but Honorable CS, you know the substratum of this question is that list.
Yes. Okay.
So everything else flow from that list. Yes, Honorable Senator Fokitui.
Mr. Speaker, it's a sad day. It's a very sad day that a CS has gone on record on the floor of the House that he actually received questions from the Senate, but just read the covering letter. That's what he has said. That actually he just read the covering letter, he did not read the annex that contains the questions, then he went ahead to answer questions based on the covering letter. Mr. Speaker, this is a demonstration of how casually this minister and this ministry treats this House. Mr. Speaker, I want to implore you, Mr. Speaker, and I said this before, restore the dignity of this House by requiring the CS to forthwith cease from addressing this House on that matter, to go back and read the question, respond to our questions, then we can engage him. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Fanarobi.
Honorable Speaker, let us not forget that this question was supposed to be responded to a while back. You remember when the minister failed to appear in the House, and I was saying that he's an individual that I do not know at all. It's good that he has shown up today, but Honorable Speaker, you can see the frustration of the people of this country with the sort of leadership that we have. First of all, even when the minister claims that he can respond adequately to the second question, look at the response you have supplied to this House, Honorable CS, that you have consultants doing something in 2012, telling you these are the parcels of land that are affected, these are the owners of the land, and this is the amount of money that is required to be paid. You send another consultant years later to do the exact same thing, Honorable Speaker. And then a third exercise to do the same thing. And when he asks the Senator for Migori, why is it taking so long? We are being told there is a verification process, the very same thing that was done in 2012. Honorable Speaker, you are also being told that completion of payment, you already have the money. You are telling us it takes 6 months to send money to 2,000 non-people. Honorable Speaker, when he says the next batch will be paid in the next financial year, August of 2025 is the next financial year. So, Honorable Speaker, what you do...
Honorable Senator,
yes,
let us agree on the way forward.
This is where I'm coming to.
Because you're interrogating the response.
This is what I'm coming to.
We have agreed here that we don't interrogate the CS on this whole question.
This is what I'm coming to speak.
Yes.
This is what I'm coming to.
Then get there fast, because you're interrogating the response.
No, because, Honorable Speaker, you put a question to him, and I can tell you for a fact, even if he was allowed to go to the second limb, we would be more annoyed than we are right now with that response. So this CS must be told to take his work seriously, to take this House seriously, so that when he comes back here, he responds to the questions that have been posed to him. Otherwise, he can also run to be Senator of Migori, ask his own questions, and run back to his ministry to answer those same questions. Those are not the questions the people of Kuja are looking for answers for.
Now, Honorable Senators, let us make progress on this matter. We have agreed that the question by Senator for Migori has not been responded to. The CS has proceeded to ask a question other than the one that has been asked by the Senator for Migori. That being the case, therefore, we will defer this question, and the CS will appear before the Senate on Wednesday next week for purposes of responding to this particular question. So we now move to question number 009 by the Senator for Makueni. I hope it will not suffer the same fate.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I had asked the CS Cabinet Secretary, could the Cabinet Secretary provide an update on the status of the construction of Thwake Dam in Makueni County and explain why construction works have stalled? And B, what measures has the government put in place to ensure the timely completion of the dam, and could the Cabinet Secretary give timeline? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable CS, you may now respond.
Thank you, Speaker, and thank you, honorable members. Honorable Speaker, two questions from the honorable member. I'll give first a background on Thwake Dam in Makueni. The government of Kenya and African Development Bank, through the Ministry of Water, Sanitation and Irrigation, is implementing Thwake Multipurpose Dam project. The program involves phase 1 of construction of the 80-meter high multipurpose dam with a storage capacity of 688 million meter cubic and associated preliminary works needed to enable implementation of phase 1, phase 3, and phase 4 of the program, which involves water supply, hydropower generation, and irrigation development, respectively. The dam is a flagship project under Vision 2030, Medium-Term Plan 2023-2027, and the better services delivery roadmap. The implementation of the program is geared towards realization of universal access to water and sanitation and food security in accordance with Article 43B, C and D of the Constitution. Honorable Speaker, the completion of Dwake Dam construction and implementation of downstream components is critical in the realization of the semi-arid eastern region, economic viability through the harnessing of runoff during the rains, and the release of waters for various uses in Makueni and Kitui counties, among the water supply of around 150,000 meter cubic to 1.3 million people, including water supply to Konza Techno City in Machakos County, generation of 20 megawatts hydropower to boost water supply and distribution. The supply water from the dam for irrigation of around 100,000 acres downstream of the dam. Areas to be served include Wote Town, Mavindeni, Kalawa, Kathonzweni sub-county, sub-urban centers in Makueni, Kanyagi, Kalini, Dongoni, Kisiani, Kwavonza sub-urban centers in Kitui County, and provide back water supply to Konza Techno City in Machakos County with a cumulative distribution lines of approximately 800 kilometers. The sanitation services will benefit over 10,000 people in towns of Wote and Kibwezi in Makueni County with a trunk sewer line of 445 kilometers. Honorable Speaker, to respond to question number 1 on the status of construction of Dwake Dam in Makueni, the construction of the 80.5 high Dwake multipurpose dam with a capacity of 688 storage capacity is ongoing, with civil works on dam construction at around 94.2% completion level. The embankment dam filling, which is one of key components of the dam, is recorded at 99%, achieving the required level of elevation of 916 meters above sea level. The last layer was placed on 18th June 2024. The spillway progress stands at 94%, and the upstream and downstream coffer dams are completed and operational. This being a rock-filled dam structure, a period of 6 to 9 months was required from the last placement on 18th June 2024 to allow the dam embankment to settle and stabilize before the concrete face slab works are carried out as recommended by the World Dam Safety Panel of Experts, which was achieved at the end of January 2025. The remaining works are on the concrete face slab placement, which is the plaster, the spillway bridge, and hydromechanical equipment installation. The construction period was expected to end on 7th December 2024. The anticipated completion date of the dam could not be realized because of for the following reasons. There was delays in works progress because of an increase in dam height from 77.5 meters to 80.5 meter to increase storage. Weak foundation of the dam at the riverbed, which was discovered during construction, necessitating excessive excavation and special treatment. There was the pandemic, COVID-19, and Ukraine issues that resulted in scaling down of labor force and lack of explosives in the country. Then there was adequate time required to allow the dam embankment to settle before the concrete slab is done. Honorable Speaker, the increase in dam height and weak foundation at the riverbed section of the dam necessitated additional works, resulting to changes in the cost of the dam construction, which requires additional financing to complete the remaining works. The National Treasury, through the letter reference number TNT/RMD/01237/01/01F8, dated 15th November 2024, sought for additional financing from Africa Development Bank to enable completion of the remaining works on the dam construction. The African Development Bank is currently undertaking an appraisal to determine the level of additional financing required. On question number 2, timelines for completion of the construction works on the Dwake Dam. Honorable Speaker, the remaining dam construction works are on the concrete face, slab placement, spillway bridge, and hydro-mechanical equipment installation. These works were due to commence once the dam embankment settlement rate of 5 millimeter per month and below has been achieved, as advised and adopted by the Dam Safety Panel of Experts. The Ministry and the Dam Supervision Consultant, in consultation with the dam panel of experts, has been monitoring the settlement level of embankment over the last 7 months, that is from July 2024 to January 2025, based on the adopted and recommended rate of 5 millimeter per month and below threshold. Honorable Speaker, as of 30th January 2025, all settlement recordings for the critical section of the dam embankment and reduced to below 5 millimeter per month threshold and stabilized, ready to commence phase slab construction. The contractor has therefore been instructed via letter reference number 5083077/2024 and NEK/13-293 dated 20th February 2025 to immediately commence execution of the remaining works on the concrete face slab placement, spillway bridge, and hydromechanical equipment installation. The contractor is required to ensure all remaining dam construction works are completed by 30th October 2025. The contractor has submitted a program of works on the same, which is currently being evaluated to this effect. Honorable Speaker, I submit.
Honorable Senator for Makueni, you may now ask your supplementary questions.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, I've got, although there has been an attempt to answer the question, Mr. Speaker, I have asked in A, why the construction works have stalled. Mr. Speaker, we've been told about the war in Ukraine. I have not seen the nexus, and I can confirm, as having been a member for Makueni constituency, that during the COVID times, the works never stopped at all, Mr. Speaker. What happened then was that there was, the people who are working there never left. They were constrained to that particular place that never interacted with other people, and therefore COVID-19 and war in Ukraine and even the so-called explosives, because I doubt whether we were exporting any explosives from Ukraine, that really ever stalled the work. Mr. Speaker, this dam has stopped completely and everybody sent away in the last 1 year or so, Mr. Speaker. And therefore, I have not heard the reason as to why the dam has stalled. On B, I have asked on timelines, Mr. Speaker. I have not, in all the previous years and the other cabinet secretaries, they have said we are ending in 4 years. They have said the dam will be done on such and such a date. I have not had such a day. And although the contractor has been instructed to complete the dam, I would like to ask the cabinet secretary whether they have made payments to the contractor up to date, because I'm aware the contractor, having not been paid, completely ran out of funds and in fact, to my own knowledge, left the country. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honorable CS, according to the Honorable Senator, you have not given reasons why the dam has stalled. And second, you have not given the way forward as to when this dam will eventually be completed. Can you proceed to respond, please?
Honorable Speaker, the Wake multipurpose dam is a rock-filled dam. A rock-filled dam, this will be the biggest dam in this country with a storage capacity of 688 million meter cubic. When you construct such a dam and you are done placing the rock fills, you give the embankment time to do what we call settlement. In that period, Honorable Speaker, when settlement of the wall is taking place, which takes, as I've indicated, takes between 6 and 9 months, you reduce the concrete face. If you place the concrete face without proper settlement of the dam, the concrete face cracks. When the concrete face cracks, you find yourself with a weak dam that is seeping. And the world experts, the World Dam Safety Panel of Experts recommends a period of 6 to 9 months. That responds to the question on why the workforce had reduced in the works. Secondly, the question on the way forward. Payments from Africa Development Bank require no objection. As of last week, I'm informed that we got the no objection from Africa Development Bank. Honorable Speaker, payments of the pending certificates are being processed. Thank you. I submit.
Yes, Senator for Kitui.
Mr. Speaker, if you allow me, I would attempt to even try to educate the CS on this dam. This dam is not just in Makueni. This dam is both in Makueni and in Kitui. In your brief, you left that out. Now you're educated. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, you know the CS, you say this is the first time here, but just relax, Mr. CS. You're double speaking. Double speaking because on the one hand, you're saying that the ADB, in your response, written response, the ADB is evaluating the financing gap. The second side of your mouth, you're saying the contractor has been instructed by 25th of February to be back on site. The Speaker, if my calendar serves me right, we are past the 25th of February. I think this is when? This is 13th, 12th of March. So I expect that the machines are rolling. If the machines are not rolling in work as the Speaker, then again maybe you may also decide again for this question to stand down the CS. Because in his own submission on the 25th of February, works should have resumed in Dwake Dam. On the 12th of March, if that has not happened, then he should either revise his response or explain what has happened. The Speaker, lastly, at some point I lent a friend of mine some money, Mr. Speaker, just little money, not a lot of money, some little money. And when I followed them up, they started talking about COVID, this COVID thing, So we had conversations until sometimes last year, they started talking about, Ukraine, this Ukraine thing. The Speaker, what is the connection between the war in Ukraine and a dam being constructed in Dwake, in Makueni and Kitui counties? The distance from Dwake Dam to Kyiv in Ukraine is 9,177 kilometers. What's the connection? What's the nexus, Mr. Speaker? I submit.
Honorable CS.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and thank you for the question. Yes, the dam will serve Makueni. It will also serve Machakos, and it's also serve Kitui. But the Honorable Member, Honorable Speaker, has asked a question about payment and how is explosives related to dam construction in Kenya. During war, our access for explosives that are required to blast the foundations of this rock bed was not very easily accessible. That slows, Speaker, that slows the progress of works.
Order, honorable senators. You have asked a question. Let the CS respond.
And
the
dynamics.
Honorable CS.
Honorable Speaker.
Is it your position that the explosives that are meant for this dam were sourced from Ukraine?
No.
And therefore, because of the war in Ukraine, you couldn't?
No. It's a global market, Honorable Speaker.
So just proceed. Just proceed. Just proceed, Honorable.
Honorable Speaker.
What? Let me help you, Honorable CS. The question that has been asked by the Senator for Kitui is, what is the nexus between the delayed works of this dam and the war in Ukraine? Just explain to the House the nexus between the two. And secondly, you've indicated in a written response that by 25th of February, work ought to have resumed. And the question from the Senator is, are the machine now roaring? Because we are on the 12th, we are now on the 12th of March. Proceed.
Honorable Speaker, if I may respond on the question of the nexus between Ukraine war and dam construction. First, Ukraine war affected global economics. So even Kenya is part of the global economics, Honorable Speaker. The question on the letter to instruct the contractor to actually consider with the works is in the anticipation that you would get no objection from African Development Bank, which we actually have gotten. We have some uncommitted funds that we are processing payments. But to finalize this dam, that's where the appraisal comes in. Engineering projects have what we call project appraisal at different stages of execution, because cost can vary. That explains why we need to do an appraisal. It's a normal contractual implementation requirement for us, not only as a ministry, but for any engineering project of this magnitude and size. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Senator Chute. Senator Mrango.
Asante sana Mstahiki Spika. Swali langu ambao ningeuliza, nadhani waziri anaweza kujibu, kwa sababu ni jambo ambalo limekuwa likisumbua watu wengi. Mstahiki Spika, mnamo tarehe 1 mwaka wa 2023 WRA iliongeza maji kwa wakulima na wenye wanatumia maji, na mnamo tarehe 7 mnamo mwezi wa 7 mwaka 2023 kulikuwa na agizo la mahakama ambayo likuja ikasimamisha watu ambao wanatumia maji ya ukulima na kukunywa wasiendelee kulipishwa maji mpaka isikilizwe. Swali yenye ningetaka kuuliza waziri, kwa nini mpaka sasa hivi wananchi wa Kenya wanaendelea kulipishwa maji ambayo iliongezewa kutoka sumuni mpaka shilingi 5 kwa kila lita 1000, na kuna agizo la mahakama? Hilo ndo ni swali ambalo ningetaka kuuliza waziri. Asante.
Honorable CS, just note the questions. You respond them at a go. Senator Kavendu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My question to Honorable CS is about the river, Athi River, which takes water, flows all the way to Tana, to Thwake Dam. It has a lot of dirt, and I wanted to know what Honorable CS is doing, and how far Maruba Dam has gotten now in Machakos, because it has been stored for so long, and Mwania Dam and Yata Dam also stalled, and compensation of those dams. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Sige Wakile.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I wanted to ask a question to the Honorable CS pursuant to a report Cabinet released yesterday with regards to Boston Dam, that is within the county of Bomet. And my question is with regards to the kind of an arrangement that the approval was made, whether it is a concession that will require further advertisement on the process, or it is within the earlier arrangement that had been made. The release in itself, Mr. Speaker, did not clarify the formation within which that approval was made, and I would like to know from the CS in what formation was that approval made. Thank you.
Senator Beatrice Akinyi.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. To the CS, my concern about the development of the dams, and not only Thwake Dam, is why does the government begin their projects before landowners are compensated?
Senator Mundigi.
Thank you, Bwana Speaker. Asante kwa wasili kuwa leo ni siku yake ya kwanza kuja kujibu maswali na nipongezi. Bwana Wasiri, katika Embu County tuko sub-county 4 na kuko na damu ambazo ni 3 inafaa injengwe kwa sababu ya kilimo ya mirasi kumuguka upande wa Mbere North na Mbere South. Kuna damu inaitwa Dhambaran Dam ambayo inaweza kusaidia kilimo ya Mbere juu ya hiyo kilimo, na pia kuna damu inaitwa Kamumu Dam ambayo iko Mbere North, na pia those inaweza kusaidia Runyenjes sub-county na pia Rakanithi. Ningeomba kujua Wasiri, hiyo kazi itaanza wakati gani ndio Embu County wakati huu iserekee kama county zile zingine 47. Asante Bwana Wasiri.
Senator Eddie.
Mr. Speaker, allow me to stick on Thwake Dam because I've had very interesting comments and answers from the CS, including that this dam was stuck at explosive stage because of Ukraine war, which is very interesting because it appears to me like, because the war is still continuing, this dam is still going to be stuck at the explosive stage, and apparently, no, it's not information, I'm talking about what
Senator Eddie, would you wish to be informed by the Senator from Mombasa?
The Senator of Mombasa...
It's yes or no?
Yes, yes, Mr. Speaker. Let me be informed. He's a senior member. He's a ranking member.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I just want to inform my brother, Senator from Migori, that the Ukraine war is about to enter into a ceasefire stage. So hopefully, in the next 1 week, there will be no war.
In the meantime, the dam can wait. But then, Mr. Speaker, my question, based on that backdrop, is very simple. What component of the Thwake Dam project was the responsibility of the Kenyan government squarely in your ministry? And what component of it was ADB component? And could you share with us the agreement that defines that component and responsibility between the national government and ADB, to the extent that then you show this House which component is lagging and which component is struggling? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Mariam. Senator Mundigi, you cannot raise a point of order when no senator is on their feet. Senator Mariam.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My question is, Mr. Speaker, there is 100 mega dams which the government has been promised, and out of it there is Banisa, which is Malkamari Dam, and it has not been forthcoming. I'm asking the CS, what is the reason that this has not been implemented? Thank you.
Senator Karungo. Senator Karungo.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. My question to the good CS is to give us the status update of the Githunguri and Thika water. We understand that the Cabinet approved the project under the financing agreement through Danida, so we'd want to know what the status. And Mr. Speaker, we also understand that the contractor withdrew or terminated the contract on Raila Dam project. And after terminating the contract, the financiers withdrew, financiers from France. So is the cabinet or is the department allocating some money for this project, that is the Raila Dam? Thank you.
Senator Omtata.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. First of all, I would like to ask the Honorable Cabinet Secretary about the dams that were to be constructed in Busia, including the Angololo Dam, the dams to control the flooding in Budalangi, and all those elaborate projects. Why is it we don't hear of them anymore? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Methu.
My more substantive question to the CS, and I wish him well. I hear there is a cabinet reshuffle coming. I hope you survive. My question, Honorable Speaker, to the CS, I mean, it's on a light note. More specifically on the issues of Nyandarua. On the 23rd of August 2023, Honorable Speaker, President William Ruto was in Nyandarua, and there are 2 dams or 3 dams that have been a campaign tool in Nyandarua, the Kinja Dam, Marawa Dam, and the Pesi Dam. And on that specific day of 23rd of August 2023, President William Ruto said, ndani ya miezi mbili, hii damu yetu ya Pesi, I'm quoting quote unquote, hii damu yetu ya Pesi, itakuwa imeanza. I would want to know, Honorable Speaker, because it is not even now 2 months since he promised. It is now close to 2 years since he last promised. What is the status of that particular dam, the specific dam, Pesi Dam, so that he does not again come next year or next election and he says again, ndani ya miezi mbili? Thank you, Speaker.
Senator George Mbugua.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On the issue of the Dhakwe Dam, Mr. CS, under the 4th schedule of the Constitution, water is largely a devolved function. Are you in a position to tell this House what engagement you've had with the county governments of Makueni and the neighboring on the utilization of this water? Thank you.
Senator Chute.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I would want the CS to tell us a story about what is happening in Marsabit in terms of sewerage system, which has delayed for the last 5 years, and the water system, which is supposed to be completed about 5 years ago. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Good. Now, Honorable Senators, if you look at our standing orders, more particularly Standing Order 51C7B, that gives the power for senators to ask supplementary questions. Supplementary questions must be related to the original question. Now, the original question as asked by the senator from Makueni is on a particular dam. You honestly do not expect the CS seated here to have all the facts on dams across Kenya. he came here prepared to respond to a particular question. And any supplementary question must flow from the original question. And therefore, I will allow the Honorable CS to respond to the supplementary question by Senator Eddy and Senator Mbugua. The rest do not qualify to be supplementary questions. You may proceed, Honorable CS. Respond to the supplementary question by Senator Eddy and Senator Mbugua. And Senator Kavindu. Those three supplementary questions only.
Honorable Speaker, thank you for the opportunity. I'll start with the question on engagement with counties. The ministry works together with county governments.
That is the question by Senator Hu, Honorable CS. I have directed you to start with the one by Senator Eddy. You respond to the one by Senator Kavindu, and you end by responding to the supplementary questions posed by Senator Mbugua. In that order.
Then, okay. Mongoni is not part of Dwake. Okay. Thank you, Speaker. The question from Honorable Senator Eddy is what is the role of, because of the varying components, the role of Government of Kenya and the role of the African Development Bank. The Dwake Multipurpose Dam is funded by the two institutions. The government as a component, which is less than 10%, and ADB as a component that is the larger scale. So that is the role. But the supervision, AFDB is just the financial. On supervision is done by the Government of Kenya through the ministry. That is clear definition of roles. However, any expenditure, we are required to seek concurrence.
Yes, Honorable CS, kindly be more specific on the component that is on the shoulders of the Kenyan government and the component that rests on the shoulders of ADB.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I can give...
If you had the Senator correctly, he even requested if you could make available...
Yes, I'll give the amount.
The agreements.
Yes. The cost is financed through a concessional loan from the African Development Bank at a cost of 35.645 billion. That is from the African Development Bank. And the Government of Kenya was meant to contribute 6.71 billion Kenya shillings. Those are the exact values, Honorable Speaker. There was a question on the Nairobi catchment.
Proceed, Honorable CS. Proceed.
There was a question on the dirt that is in Athi River. And first I will clarify that dams, during design of dams, we consider what we call retention. That is a factor, and that was considered during design. However, under a different program, we have Nairobi Rivers Restoration Program that will aid in reduction of that retention of the dirt. Honorable Speaker, there was the question on our engagement with county governments, considering that water is a devolved function. And to respond to that, Honourable Speaker, is that water being a devolved function, the role of the county is to provide last mile services. However, in our relationship, intergovernmental relationship, we always engage county governments. That is the county of Makueni, the county of also Machakos, to ensure that when this is complete, and we do a phase 2, phase 3, phase 4, because those are the other phases that will actually give water for consumption by doing a 150,000 meter cubic treatment plant and a distribution network to the people of those counties, then the last mile and also service provision will automatically go to the county governments. Thank you, Speaker. I submit.
Now, Honorable CS, there is a feeling, a general feeling, which feeling I associate myself with, that this question has also not been adequately given due attention. And therefore, question number 008 and question 009 will still appear on Wednesday next week. Go prepare yourself adequately for purposes of responding to these two.
Well advised, Speaker.
Yes, Senator Wakili.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I felt you were releasing the Honorable Cabinet Secretary, but then in his comments to respond to the questions which we had directed, there are other questions which you said they don't qualify pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 53, which, Mr. Speaker, I am duly directed. But I wanted to request that in terms of Standing Order number 1, because the CS seems to have been ready to answer those questions, they are relevant to the interest of the people of Kenya we represent. If, and pursuant to this provision of Standing Order, allow him to do so, so that even as he prepares to come back on Wednesday to respond to those other specific questions approved, Kenyans will have also heard from him as to those other questions the honorable members have requested.
Honorable Senator, we only have 8 minutes to interact with the Honorable CS. 8 minutes will not be adequate for purposes of responding to the many supplementary questions, even if the CS is ready to respond to. And therefore, let the CS go back to his ministry, prepare adequately for these 2 questions, and also note to capture the supplementary questions that had been raised by honorable senators. Honorable CS, you are released to appear before this House Wednesday next week. Clerk, you may usher in the next CS. Now, Honorable Senators, the CS in charge of Agriculture and Livestock is in the chamber for purposes of responding to question number 036 and 038 by the Senator for Kirinyaga County, Senator James Murango. Now, Honorable Eddie, take your seat. Honorable Boni. Senator James Murango, I will ask you to leave the chamber, and you're the one who is supposed to ask these questions. Now, we will allow the Honorable CS to respond to the two questions, and then thereafter we will interrogate the two questions together. That way we'll be able to manage time. Is that agreeable? Good. So I'll call upon the Senator for Kirinyaga County, Senator James Murango, to ask question number 36. It will be responded to. Before you ask your supplementary questions on that particular question, you will proceed to ask question number 38. The CS will respond, and then you will rise to ask supplementary questions on both questions. Thereafter, we will open the floor to your colleagues to ask supplementary questions. You may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to ask the CS for Agriculture, what measures has the government put in place to prevent the mixing of different quality of teas before being sold at the Mombasa auction, which distorts the price to the disadvantage of farmers who produce high quality tea? And B, could the Cabinet Secretary provide details on the gains attained from the implementation of tea reform so far, and also provide a commitment towards the continued implementation of the reforms to ensure better returns for the tea farmers across the country? Then question number 38. Could the Cabinet Secretary explain the current position of the government on the export of raw macadamia nuts, that is in shell, from the country? B, are there plans to lift the ban on the export of raw macadamia nuts, that is in shell, to ensure farmers get competitive prices for the produce from local processors and licensed exporters? And C, what strategies is the government implementing to build the capacity of local processors of macadamia for enhanced value addition to maximize the benefit to farmers and the overall economy? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Just proceed to ask the second question so that the CS takes both of them.
Mr. Speaker, I have asked both questions.
Oh, good. You may now proceed, Honorable CS, to respond.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, from the outset, let me thank you and the Senate for this opportunity, and particularly the Senator Murango for this opportunity to express this response to these two questions, and also to express, Mr. Speaker, that I feel like I'm talking from the wrong place, because my seat is this one over here. So I feel like I'm talking from the wrong side of the house. But it's always nice to be back. Mr. Speaker, in response to the issue of tea reforms, the first item that I am going to respond to is the measures that the government has put in place to prevent the mixing of different qualities of tea before being sold to the Mombasa auction. Mr. Speaker, the mixing of different qualities of teas does not happen before the teas are sold at the auction. However, after the auction, teas are mixed for the purpose of blending. Different markets have different tastes and preferences for tea, which they have formed over time. For example, Mr. Speaker, the Turkish market likes very tough teas, while other markets might like lighter teas. The Yemeni market likes very, very tough tea or very concentrated tea, when other markets might want lighter ones. So the reason why blending is undertaken after the sale of tea at the auction is that the buyers want to achieve certain product tastes and flavors and attributes that are discerned by the consumers in the respective markets. The government has put in place several measures to ensure quality control and prevent the mixing of different qualities of tea before being sold at the Mombasa tea auction. One is the government has developed a standard, what is called KS 2128, to guide on mixing, that is the blending of teas. Compliance to the standard ensures compliance to food safety and hygiene standard qualities and requirements. Every quarter, the government, through the Tea Board of Kenya, undertakes compliance audits of all the tea warehouses and blending facilities in the country. 3, the Tea Board of Kenya also undertakes surveillance audits of the factories to ascertain to adherence with good agricultural and good manufacturing practices and compliance with the terms and conditions of the manufacturing licenses. 4, in terms of the regulatory standards, the Tea Board of Kenya enforces the provisions of the Tea Act 2020 regarding the grading and classification of tea. Producers are required to adhere to these standards and to ensure that only high-quality tea reaches the auction. Number 5, inspection and certification. Tea manufacturers are subjected to regular quality inspections by regulatory bodies. These inspections assess compliance with quality standards and ensure that mixing of different grades does not occur. There is also the aspect of traceability, which is number 6. The government encourages the adoption of traceability system that allow for the tracking of tea from the farm to the auction. This helps in maintaining the integrity of different tea qualities. We also carry out training and capacity building, and the government provides training for tea farmers and processors in terms of quality standards, proper handling, and storage practices to prevent contamination or mixing. And Mr. Speaker, there are penalties for non-compliance. High penalties are imposed on tea manufacturers and traders who are found to mix different qualities of tea. This serves as a deterrent against more practices. Mr. Speaker, in response to the Senator's issue, the Honourable Senator's issue regarding the gains that have been attained from the implementation of the tea reform so far, and also the commitment towards the continued implementation of the reforms to ensure better returns of tea farmers across the country, the overall objective of the tea reforms is to enhance the competitiveness of our tea industry in order to increase returns of tea growers and other tea value chains. And in this respect, we have increased monthly payments as a result of the reforms. Smallholder tea factories have increased the monthly payment of tea to tea farmers from Kenya shilling 16 to 21 in the east of the lift and 20 in the west of the lift. The earnings by smallholder tea farmers are gradually rising, which will reduce their over-reliance on borrowing expensive loans from SACCOs and proliferation of green leaf hawking to meet their socio-economic needs. The increase in line with the reform agenda on payment to farmers at a rate of 50% of the proceeds of sale on a monthly basis. The total payments have increased from Kenya shillings 50 per kilogram of green leaf in 2022 to shillings 59 in 2023 and 64 in 2024. Total payments have increased from Kenya shillings 34.7 per kilogram of green leaf in 2021 to 59 in 2023 and 64 in 2024. And this is in line, of course, with keeping up what the government tried to transform. The total payment to smallholder tea farmers increased from 44.1 billion in 2021, 67.7 billion in 2023, and 90.5 billion in 2024. Mr. Speaker, in response to the issue of indicating the good corporate governance practices. We have enhanced participation of smallholder tea farmers in management of tea factories. The farmers have elected their directors through elections conducted by the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission and oversighted by the Tea Board of Kenya in July 2024. There is also improvement in good corporate governance among smallholder tea factories. We have also, in terms of the review of factory management agreements, as part of the reform process, all smallholder tea factories signed new management agreements with the Kenya Tea Development Authority Management Services Limited, and implementation began in July of 2024. The main objective of reviewing the management agreements was to remove skewed and exploitative clauses in the management agreements against smallholder tea factories and to reduce operational costs for smallholder tea factories by reducing the management agency fee, among other costs. The agreements provided for evaluation of the performance of the management agent prior to renewal of contracts, setting by small tea factories of annual performance targets, and payment of cost of staff seconded by the factory, by the management agent, by the agent. In terms of development of tea regulations under the Tea Act 2020, and in order to operationalize the Tea Act 2020, regulations and guidelines have been finalized and subjected to public participation in line with the Constitution and Statutory Instruments Act. These regulations are the Tea Levy Regulations 2024, the Tea Registration and Licensing Regulations 2024, Corporate Governance Guidelines and Code of Conduct for the tea sector, Guidelines on the quality of green leaf for processing by tea factories. The regulations will be forwarded to the relevant committee of the Senate and the National Assembly after consultations with the counties and the holding of national validation forums. Mr. Speaker, the Tea Amendment Bill of 2023. The Tea Amendment Bill of 2023 was passed by the Senate on the 8th of October 2024 and endorsed for presentation to the National Assembly. The Ministry has forwarded further amendments to the National Assembly for consideration in order to address the current challenges facing the industry and enhance the competitiveness of the subsector. Mr. Speaker, export earnings from tea have increased from 136.5 billion in 2021 to shillings 180.57 billion in 2023 and 181.69 billion in 2024. The number of export markets have increased from 82 in 2022 to 97 in 2024. This has been attributed to the enhanced market expansion activities, including trade missions and promotion undertaken in Russia, Iran, Saudi Arabia, UAE, China, Hong Kong, Egypt, Pakistan, Kazakhstan, Germany, Canada, the USA, and Ghana. Exports of value-added tea have also increased from 20.3 million kilograms in 2022 to 28.89 million kilograms in 2024. The value-added teas have increased from 3.5 billion in 2021 to 20.08 billion in 2024. This achievement is attributed to the various government incentives, such as the removal of VAT on tea purchased directly from the factory for export and tax exemptions on imported inputs of tea export operating under the special processing zones. Mr. Speaker, in terms of enhancing diversification into orthodox and specialty teas, the production of high specialty teas has increased from 3.7 million kilograms in 2023 to 7.2 million kilograms in 2024 through licensing of orthodox processing capacity and specialty tea manufacturers. 34 cottage factories processing orthodox tea have been established by 2024. It is envisaged that production of orthodox and specialty teas will increase annually to over 60 million kilograms in the next 3 years and over 100 million kilograms in the next 6 years. The government has also provided capacity building to the factories on manufacture of orthodox and specialty teas in accordance with the product requirements of the markets. As a result, earnings per kilogram is expected to increase with over 85% from the current average of US dollars 2.7 to approximately $5. Specialty teas fetch high prices compared to black CTC teas. Diversification into orthodox tea manufacturing is also expected to reduce the volume of black CTC teas being supplied into the world market. Mr. Speaker, in terms of cushioning the tea farmers against rising costs of inputs, to cushion the tea farmers against the high cost of fertilizer, the government has for the last 2 years subsidized some 194,000 metric tons of fertilizer distributed to farmers at a price of 2,500 per bag from the 3,500 per bag. That is a cost reduction of 40%. Due to accessibility of subsidized fertilizers coupled with the good weather conditions, tea production for the year 2024 surpassed the 2023 production by 28.21 million kilograms, a growth of about 4.95%, to stand at 598.47 million kilograms against 570.26 million kilograms for the year 2023. It is also significantly higher compared to the 535.04 million kilograms of 2022. Mr. Speaker, in terms of the commitments, the government is committed to the following. Number one is to undertake periodic monitoring of the implementation of the management agreements by the tea factories and the management agent. Number two, it is our intention to curb tea hawking malpractices which lead to processing of low-quality tea leaves. This will be achieved by enforcing the tea registration and licensing regulations 2025. And Mr. Speaker, I want to emphasize there that our tea quality has been compromised to an extent by the fact that there are people who are hawking, who do not have any tea of their own, essentially go to the gates to buy the tea. That is why you hear of tea theft in parts of the Rift Valley, and so on. So effective this week, or effective today, the hawking of tea across the country, Mr. Speaker, will be stopped so that farmers can deliver their tea themselves and to ensure that the quality standards are met. We have also instructed that the tea board takes effective action to control this issue and to ensure that independent processors of tea also buy from registered farmers.
That is around 6,500 there.
So
yeah,
we
and we withdraw when it is
guidelines to curb harvesting and processing.
Yeah, currently our population has increased
we intend
from
to
last year.
of tea
Now we are
regulations
around
to
8,000.
operationalize the Tea
Yeah,
Act
so with that population,
working with both houses of
sometimes
parliament,
it is a challenge.
we intend to make
yeah, because
necessary
many
amendments
comrades
to the
wish
Tea
they
Act
could be
2020
here
in
to do
order to
some
address
tasks,
all
but
challenges facing
with
the
the
society.
limited facilities, it
And
is a bit hard.
supporting value addition
Yeah, now when you
tea
empower us
by
with some more
funding
facilities,
two value
comrades
addition
will
hubs
enjoy
in Ketepa,
and they will
Exhibition,
work here,
and Nairobi
idleness
to
will not be
enhance
there.
value addition.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kipkurui. Your Excellency.
To undertake